the waters surrounding Antarctica, near the South Pole. These waters, in the so-called Southern Ocean, are the stormiest in the world. Severe weather rages here unabated. 2,000 miles north, in Charleston, South Carolina, marine engineer and sailor Isabelle Autissier is about to navigate those waters alone. For the French yachter, it's a goal she's had since she was 6 years old.
I was really dreaming of, doing some very long trip and maybe going alone or having adventures at sea. I didn't know, of course, at that time, which kind.
She is the only woman in the world to enter a race that will take her around the world alone. It's a challenge that will nearly cost her her life. 24 sailors will compete with Isabelle in the longest race on Earth for an individual in any sport. The first leg of the race stretches from Charleston, South Carolina to Cape Town, South Africa. Using weather data and computer software she designed herself, Isabelle decides to cut away from her competitors who follow the protection of the coastlines of the Americas before heading east. Isabelle gambles on braving the blustery mid-Atlantic and immediately heads across the ocean for South Africa.
But it was quite difficult for me to keep going during 3 or 4 days as all the others were going straight down. And it was a bit difficult because I had to be very sure what I was doing.
Isabelle astounds the world when she arrives in Cape Town a full 5 days ahead of her nearest competitor. Buoyed by the victory, she immediately sets off for Australia on leg number 2. She'll be the first of the racers to sail through the notorious Southern Ocean. Here, furious storms constantly churn the water, making this region the most volatile and dangerous stretch of sea on Earth. These notorious Southern Ocean storms confront Isabelle, who is still in the lead. Not far into the second leg of the race, waves, driven by near hurricane-force winds, pound her boat. Her mast suddenly breaks. Isabelle makes temporary repairs to stay in the race. But it takes her 10 days to get to the Kerguelen Islands, where the French Navy helps find and install a new mast.
Of course, it was a kind of awful experience because before that I was leading the race, and of course with the masting I was not anymore.
Isabelle is back in the race, hoping to make up valuable time. She is now 1,000 miles from Australia, hundreds of miles from any piece of land. She's sailing where few people and very few ships ever go. It's here, in the waters of Antarctica, that she encounters the roughest ride of her life. Isabelle is caught in a cross sea, the most dangerous situation for any sailor. Waves, generated by separate storm systems, come from different directions. The winds blow at well over 60 miles an hour. The sea violently tosses the lone sailor and her boat in 40-foot swells. The cross sea makes it impossible for her to maneuver her boat head-on into the waves so she won't capsize. To stay alive, Isabelle lowers her sails and takes refuge below deck. On her way to her chart table, she hears the groan of a very big wave. A rogue wave smashes into Isabelle's yacht. Clinging to the inside cabin, she turns upside down as the boat continues to roll a full 360 degrees. When it stops rolling, the deck of the boat is gone.
When I just opened my eyes after that, I could see that there was not any more roof. All the roof had been destroyed, had been exploded by the wave.
Along with the mast, the steering system, and the radio.
I haven't any more VHF or anything, so I couldn't communicate.
Autissier activates her EPIRB or emergency position indicating radio beacon. It sends a signal to an orbiting satellite, which in turn forwards the message back to Earth.
There are some worse places to have this happen, but not this one.
Back in South Carolina, race director Mark Schrader determines that there are no international shipping vessels anywhere near the stranded racer, and the nearest competitor is almost 300 miles away. Nigel Rowe is fighting his own dangerous battle with a southern ocean storm. The Australian military dispatches a Hercules search plane to find Isabelle. It shouldn't be hard. Via satellite, ComSat's tracking system has identified Isabelle's last known position. But bad weather makes it difficult for the crew of the search plane to spot Autissier. For 3 hours, they search. When the winds die down, they see her.
Maybe the most emotional part was when I seen the first plane coming on Thursday, because it was a sign of something for me.
But Isabelle's ordeal is not over yet. The Hercules can't rescue her. It can only drop supplies. In order to pick her up, the Australian Navy ship, the Darwin, leaves Adelaide, 1,600 miles away, with a rescue helicopter on board. 3 days later, Isabelle is still alive and well aboard her mutilated sailboat when the Darwin and its rescue helicopter finally reach her. Swaying in the wind, it takes the search and rescue team several tries before they can attach the safety harness to Isabelle. Finally, they succeed and winch her into the helicopter. Autissier is cold, wet, and near exhaustion, and while she's relieved, the full impact of what she's been through and what she's lost starts to sink in.
I spent 3 years, thinking about this race, building this boat, doing a lot of sailing, a lot of racing with this boat, and I'm quite very close to her. And now I'm here, I'm happy, I'm okay, and she's alone. And well, that's pretty difficult.
Sailors like Autissier will continue to be attracted by the challenge of the around alone. But the savagery and unpredictability of the storms in the Southern Ocean keep many other sailors away. Sailors say that beyond 40 degrees south, there is no law. Beyond 50, no God.